Welcome to the Fashion Algorithm. This deep dive is brought to you by cultivate.ai. Imagine seeing an influencer's outfit and being able to buy it, like, right then and there.
Instantly.
Yeah, instantly. That's what cultivate.ai does. It connects that influencer content straight to your product inventory, making it totally shoppable.
Which means more sales, higher order value too. It's really leveraging content people are already looking at.
Exactly. So to learn more about making that influencer magic work for your bottom line, you should visit cultivate.ai.
That's cloutfit.ai.
Hello and welcome. Today we are really jumping into the world of fashion e-commerce, specifically looking at something the sources we've gathered make incredibly clear is, well, critical for 2025.
And that's building real, authentic customer communities. We've got a whole stack of material articles, research, brand case studies.
Yeah, quite a bit to unpack.
Right. And our mission, really, is to sift through all of this and pull out the absolute key insights for you. We want to understand why community building has become, less of a nice-to-have and more of a core strategy.
Essential, really.
Essential. And where are brands actually doing this successfully? Is it social media, the metaverse, or maybe surprisingly, even face-to-face?
And how are they doing it? What techniques are they using to get customers connected and keep them coming back?
Exactly. We're aiming to boil it down, highlight the important stuff, maybe some surprising facts, so you can quickly grasp what's driving success here.
So think of us as your guides through this material. I'll be bringing that maybe enthusiastic curiosity, pointing out things I find interesting in the sources.
And I'll be here offering some analysis, trying to connect the dots, give context, and sort of explain the so what behind all this information.
Okay, let's dig in then. First off, the sources immediately point to this big shift. Like fashion e-commerce, it's not just about the transaction anymore.
No, not just click and buy.
Right, it's really moving towards creating a sense of belonging. And there's this stat that just jumps out right at the beginning.
A retention one?
Yeah. Increasing customer retention by just 5% can boost profits somewhere between 25% and, get this, 95%.
Wow, that's significant.
It really is. That alone tells you this community stuff isn't just like a fluffy concept. It's serious business impact.
It absolutely underscores that shift. What the sources consistently show is that, today's consumers, especially younger ones, they're looking for more.
More than just clothes.
Exactly. They want brands that align with their values, brands that make them feel like they're part of something bigger than just a purchase. This desire for connection with the brand, connection with other customers who share that passion, it changes the whole game. Buying clothes becomes more like joining a club or, expressing who you are.
Moving beyond just generic recommendations.
Totally. Moving towards valuing real connections and voices you actually trust.
Okay, so if building those deeper relationships is the goal, where are brands actually focusing their efforts? The sources seem to suggest it's not just one place.
Definitely not. It's a multi-channel world out there. You really have to meet customers wherever they happen to be.
Makes sense.
And, the global social commerce market is just exploding, projected to hit something like $1.2 trillion by 2025.
Wow. Trillion.
Yeah. And platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, they're right at the center of that.
Instagram has certainly changed a lot, hasn't it? The sources talk about brands using reels and stories for like dynamic product reveals or behind-the-scenes stuff.
And those in-app checkouts make it so easy to go from seeing something you like to actually buying it, almost frictionless.
Right. And TikTok seems absolutely vital, especially for reaching Gen Z.
Oh, crucial. It's all about being authentic, using humor, encouraging creativity on there. Brands are using shoppable videos. Quick styling tips, get ready with me clips, live collection drops.
Stuff that feels native to TikTok itself.
Precisely. And often it's the less polished, more relatable content that really takes off and gets users involved.
Pinterest is interesting, too. I always thought of it more for, like, mood boards.
It is great for that, but the sources position it as a really powerful visual search engine that actually drives sales directly.
Oh, okay.
Good for that evergreen content style guides, seasonal lookbooks, things people search for over time. And its integrated shopping features help close that loop.
And YouTube Shorts, another player in that short-form video space.
Yep, Google's answer. It's another way to get quick brand messages or styling hacks out there with high visibility.
So brands are kind of experimenting everywhere. Threads, Snapchat.
Pretty much. The research shows they need to be adaptable, but the real power the sources emphasize on social media. It's how brands encourage user-generated content and partner with influencers. That's how they really build that authentic community feel.
Okay, but social media is huge. It offers massive reach.
Yeah.
Yet the sources also talk quite a bit about brands investing in building their own platforms. Why do that? Why take on that extra work?
That is a great question, and it really boils down to control and also building deeper relationships with your most loyal customers.
Right, the ones who buy again and again.
Exactly. Having your own spaces, like the sources explain, gives you direct access. You're not reliant on changing social media algorithms.
Oh, good
It
point.
lets you create unique, maybe exclusive experiences just for those loyal fans. It's about turning repeat buyers into genuine brand advocates.
So this could be things like dedicated online forums or private community groups.
Precisely that. Creating places where customers can actually talk to each other, share how much they love a product, swap styling tips, give feedback. That builds a really strong sense of belonging. The sources also highlight loyalty programs, but revamped ones as being super important in this owned space.
Revamped how? Like going beyond just points for purchase.
Exactly. We saw examples like Pulse Boutiques, Pulse Perks. You earn rewards not just for buying, but for things like writing reviews or sharing photos of yourself wearing the clothes.
Oh, interesting.
And the sources noted that approach led to a pretty remarkable 79% jump in their repeat purchase rate.
Wow.
And other brands like H&M or Sephora, they're weaving brand values into their loyalty programs, rewarding sustainable actions maybe, or charitable donations.
This is not just about discounts anymore.
No, it's about building predictable revenue, sure, but also really deepening that emotional bond with the customer.
And the tech side of this, having systems that unify customer data, manage emails, reviews, loyalty points. That sounds like it must be essential to make it all work together smoothly.
It absolutely
Yeah,
is.
right.
That kind of connected, unified experience across all these different touch points makes it easy for customers to engage, encourages those repeat buys, and helps turn them into those valuable brand advocates.
Okay, so we've covered social media, owned platforms, but the sources also really dive into this, well, exciting new area, the metaverse and virtual worlds.
Yeah, this is where things get pretty fascinating. The potential the metaverse offers for completely new ways to engage communities. It's huge.
Like virtual fashion shows.
Exactly. We're seeing those become a real thing. Brands participating in events like Metaverse Fashion Week. The sources mention names like Etro, Tommy Hilfiger, Dolce & Gabbana. They're using these virtual spaces to let people all over the world experience collections interactively. Sometimes users can even, walk the virtual runway themselves.
And digital items, virtual clothes, and accessories, that's a big part of it too, right? People wanting to style their avatars.
Huge part. Users are expressing themselves, building identities in these virtual worlds using digital fashion. You've got Nike with Nikeland on Roblox.
I've heard of that one.
Gucci's doing amazing things with Gucci Garden and Gucci Vaultland on Roblox and the Sandbox. Adidas is into NFTs. Vans has Vans World.
So they're building actual virtual locations.
Right. And they're not just static displays. They're environments where you can play games, socialize, get exclusive digital merch. Forever 21 even lets users own and manage virtual stores within Roblox. It's all about creating shared virtual experiences and identities.
It really blurs the lines, doesn't it, between the physical and the virtual, this whole phygital idea.
That's the term, yeah, phygital. The sources highlight technologies like virtual try-ons, AR wearables, AI styling tools. They're all bridging that gap.
And that does more than just make shopping cooler, presumably.
Yeah. It builds confidence before you buy something online, and it could potentially help reduce those really costly returns.
Okay, so we've got digital, we've got virtual, but the sources are pretty clear that offline, or maybe hybrid experiences, are still incredibly important for building those community bonds.
They really are. The material actually shows that in real life, IRL pop-ups and events are making a comeback as a trend for 2025.
Interesting, like what kind of events?
Think product launch parties, community meet and greets, maybe crafting workshops, even brand-hosted supper clubs.
Face-to-face connection.
Exactly. Those direct interactions build incredibly strong, authentic connections. Rixo is mentioned as a great example. They apparently turned their flagship store into this community hub with a bar, alteration services, panel discussions.
Wow.
Really tapping into that desire for genuine connection, especially among younger shoppers who maybe crave that after so much digital interaction.
And then the trick is making all these pieces, the online, the virtual, the offline, work together seamlessly, that omni-channel thing.
That's the goal, providing a unified experience no matter how or where the customer interacts. Maybe geo-targeted pop-ups linked to your online browsing.
Or buying online and picking up in store.
Right, or using the app to see if a nearby store has the item you want in your size. That smooth, connected journey, that's what builds loyalty long-term.
Okay, so choosing the right channels is one thing. But what about the specific techniques brands are using within those channels? How do you actually engage people and nurture that community feeling, make them feel like they belong?
Right. This gets to the heart of engagement strategy. And personalization at scale is, well, absolutely fundamental according to these sources.
People expect it now, don't they? They really do. It's not just a nice to have anymore. And this is largely driven by AI analyzing browsing history, purchase patterns, even real-time context.
So like when Amazon or Zara show you recommendations that feel spookily relevant,
Yeah.
or dynamic website content.
Exactly like that. That level of tailoring makes customers feel seen, understood, valued, and that naturally leads to higher engagement and loyalty.
Any specific examples?
Well, Pros, the hair care brand, uses really detailed quizzes and data to create completely custom products. Nike uses its loyalty program data to tailor offers and recommendations based on your activity. It's using data to build a relationship, not just push a sale.
And user-generated content, UGC. That seems absolutely massive. I think I saw a stat somewhere. 79% of people say UGC heavily influences their buying decisions.
That sounds right. UGC is like gold dust for building authenticity and trust. Brands really need to actively encourage it. Reviews, photos, videos, social posts.
Pulse Boutique, you mentioned them rewarding reviews and photos.
Yes, and the sources showed that directly boosted their returning customer rates significantly. And think about H&M's hashtag HMOTD hashtag campaign.
Oh yeah, that's been around forever.
Exactly. A simple prompt that generates this constant stream of organic content showing real people wearing their clothes. Huge exposure, huge social proof.
So it's not just hoping people post stuff. It's actively encouraging it and then using it smartly.
Absolutely. You need to incentivize it and then showcase it. Seeing positive experiences from real customers. That builds credibility in a way that slick advertising often just can't. The sources mentioned brands using specific tools to collect and curate all that UGC, and even AI tools to filter it and personalize which UGC different customers see based on their interests.
Tailored social proof almost.
Pretty much, which apparently leads to higher conversion rates and makes the community's voice part of the actual shopping journey.
And some brands are taking it even further,
Yeah.
involving customers directly in actually creating products. Community co-design.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Empowering customers to become collaborators. Monkey was mentioned they have a platform where their community can rate collection concepts and help style outfits.
And Glossy is famous for that, right?
Famously. Sourcing product ideas, even ad copy, directly from their community blog and interactions. It's not just collecting feedback, it's creating this iterative design loop.
Ensuring the products actually resonate.
Exactly. And building much deeper investment from the community when they feel they had a hand in creating something.
Okay, what about influencers? They still seem relevant, even with this focus on building a brand's own community.
They definitely still play a role, but the sources suggest a bit of a shift towards micro and nano influencers.
Smaller accounts, more niche audiences.
Right. These creators often have incredibly engaged, tight-knit communities built on genuine trust. So authentic partnerships with influencers whose values really match the brand's values. That's key.
And co-creating products with them too, like that something Navy line mentioned in the sources.
Yes. That's a powerful strategy. It gives you instant credibility and a built-in audience that's already excited about that influencer and, by extension, the product.
That something Navy launch.
Yeah.
Didn't it do crazy numbers?
Over $1 million in sales in just 30 minutes, according to the source material. It really shows the power of tapping into an influencer's established community for a collaboration.
Wow. And influencers can also encourage their own followers to create UGC for the brand, right?
Absolutely. Amplifying the brand's reach even further through that trusted voice.
Interactive content also seems like a big theme for cutting through the noise.
Definitely. You need ways to grab and hold attention. AR for virtual try-ons is a prime example we touched on earlier.
Gucci using it for shoes.
Yep, Gucci for virtual shoe try-ons. And the sources reported that this directly increased their online sales. It's fun, it's engaging, it bridges that physical-digital gap, and builds buying confidence.
And live shopping. Those streamed events. They seem huge in some parts of the world.
Huge, especially in Asia, but growing elsewhere too. They offer this amazing real-time interaction. Viewers can ask questions live, see items styled on the spot, get immediate
Like a
answers.
QVC for the digital age, almost.
Sort of, yeah. Louis Vuitton did a live stream on China's Xiaohongshu platform, drew over 15,000 viewers apparently, with a really high engagement rate, like 33%. Shows how effective it is for connecting with younger audiences on their preferred platforms.
And short-form video is just everywhere.
Still king for engagement. Across all platforms, showcasing collections, quick styling tips, little bursts of brand personality. And interestingly, the sources suggest that authenticity, maybe even a slightly homemade feel, often outperforms super polished, expensive productions.
Makes sense. It feels more real. So it sounds like really listening to customers is just fundamental here, building those feedback loops.
Critical. Absolutely critical. Brands need clear channels for feedback reviews, yes, but also social media monitoring, dedicated community forums, direct messaging options.
And dealing with all that feedback must be a
Right.
challenge.
It is, which is where AI tools, particularly sentiment analysis, are becoming indispensable according to the sources. They can process huge volumes of comments, identify trends, even pick up on nuances like sarcasm.
Allowing brands to respond faster and more appropriately.
Exactly. And then, crucially, using that feedback, feeding it back into product design, improving operations, fixing problems.
So it's not just listening, it's acting on it.
Yes. Incorporating feedback into concept testing, troubleshooting, refining products ensures they actually meet customer needs. And then closing that loop, letting customers know their input was heard and made a difference that builds such a powerful sense of community and loyalty.
Okay, one last major theme the sources really emphasized: sustainability and ethical values,
Yeah.
especially for connecting with Gen Z.
This is massive. This is where shared values become a core pillar of the brand's identity and the community bond. The research cited suggests, 62% of Gen Z prefer sustainable brands?
And 73% are willing to pay more for them.
Right. And transparency here is non-negotiable. This generation is incredibly savvy at spotting greenwashing.
So it's not just about using recycled materials, it's more involved.
Much more. It's about educating and empowering the community, too. Promoting things like clothing swaps, repair workshops, recycling programs, enabling customers to participate in a more sustainable lifestyle alongside the brand.
Patagonia is the classic example, right?
The ultimate example. They've built this enormous, incredibly engaged community centered entirely around their environmental mission, leveraging tons of UGC from passionate advocates.
And other brands are getting serious too.
Definitely. Purpose-driven initiative are becoming more embedded in business models. The sources mentioned LVMH, Tilo MS, Ralph Lauren, all cited for significant social impact programs that really resonate with younger, value-driven shoppers.
Okay, wow. Lots to cover there. Let's try and wrap this up and pull together the main threads from this deep dive.
Yeah, I think the core takeaway is just crystal clear from all the material we looked at. For fashion e-commerce, looking ahead to 2025, building a genuine community isn't optional. It's not just a tactic.
It's fundamental strategy.
It's a strategic imperative. If you want sustained growth, if you want a competitive edge, you have to focus on creating those deep emotional connections and that real sense of belonging. It has to go beyond just the sale.
And doing that successfully means using a really diverse, integrated toolkit. You've got to leverage social media, TikTok, Instagram, for that authentic buzz.
But also build your own spaces like forums or loyalty programs like Pulse Perks, H&M, Sephora are doing.
Explore those new frontiers in the metaverse, virtual shows, digital goods from brands like Nike and Gucci.
Don't forget the power of offline, those IRL events like Rixo's Community Hub.
Personalize everything using AI like Amazon or Zara. Champion UGC like H&M's hashtag or co-creation like Monkey.
Collaborate smartly with the right influencers. Use interactive content like AR try-ons and live shopping.
Actively listen and respond through feedback loops. And crucially, anchor it all in real sustainability and ethical values like Patagonia or 2MS.
Absolutely. Understanding how all these strategies work together gives you, the listener, a really solid grasp of where online retail is heading and how brands are managing to build connection and loyalty in this incredibly fast-moving space.
And speaking of connection, this deep dive into fashion e-commerce communities was sponsored by Cloutfit.ai. Remember we talked about making influencer content shoppable?
Turning inspiration into sales.
Exactly. Cloudfit.ai connects that powerful content directly to your product inventory. Instant shopping, higher sales, better average order value. It just makes sense.
And leveraging what's already working.
Right. So To see how they make influencer magic meet your business reality, visit cloutfit.ai.
That's cloutfit.ai. And maybe one final thought to leave you with, drawing from what we've discussed. With virtual try-ons getting so good and digital fashion becoming a real thing in the metaverse, how much do you think the fashion we experience virtually will start to blend with, or maybe diverge from, the clothes we wear in the physical world?
Interesting question.
And how will brands manage to build strong, connected communities that feel cohesive across both of those realities at the same time?
Definitely something to think about as these worlds continue to merge. If you found this deep dive useful, please do share it with a friend or colleague who might also find it interesting.
And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next exploration.